Hello, folks. I'm here today with Jim Owczarski. How are you doing, Jim?
I am doing well, as it should happen. Good afternoon.
Yes, it's just barely good afternoon for me. It's the stroke of noon for me. I brought Jim on today because I have got a whack of Napoleonic era games, and it's probably the one genre in my collection where I have more unplayed than played. And I think the reason for that is, I've read a fair bit of World War II history or American Civil War history, and I feel like I've read a chunk of Napoleonic history, but there's just so much more to know. So I find the whole history of the Napoleonic period just so daunting, and I think that's what's kept me from playing more games. Do you feel that way, that the history is just kind of bigger than outsides compared to other genres we might look at?
Wow, I don't know. I mean, it's been mine for so long. There's absolutely no doubt that, to borrow a phrase that was given to me by Dr. Robert Kingdon at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, talking about William Shakespeare, everything that is written today about William Shakespeare has either been written before or is wrong. And I feel kind of the same way about Napoleon. He is this gigantic figure. Forget about military history, forget about war gamers. He is this immense figure of human history, and he is certainly outsized. He is certainly someone who is very controversial. And there is no doubt that the literature is, I think everybody who is literate gets to a point in your life where you walk it. For me, it was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison when I went into the Union Library and I stood in the shelves. At the time, I was working on Martin Luther. And I remember looking at the shelves thinking, I will never read all these books. And I think Napoleon is absolutely the same way. I will never read all of this. And so you just, I suppose you're right. I suppose you take a step back and it can feel a little heavy.
Well, yeah, it's just like, I started with a couple of, biography volumes, more like, of course they talked about all the different battles, but they were incidental. It was like, let's get a full measure of the man. And then I read, it's a famous one, The Campaigns of Napoleon. It's kind of
David Chandler.
Yeah, the Chandler book. And then it was like, okay, so now I'm putting it together. And then, I read a few books on individual campaigns, but it feels like I've just got like the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too, like all good historians know, history is a long-standing argument among friends, and sometimes not even among friends. There are people who have you take someone like, I'll take David Chandler, who obviously is a fan of Napoleon, and compare him to a Charles Esdale, the recently retired professor who has written brilliantly about Napoleon, who despises him.
Right.
And there's people all along the range in between. And so even as you're studying even the military history, there are people who, I'll call it the great man Napoleon, the great commander Napoleon. And then there's the lucky Napoleon, the guy who almost tripped himself into all these victories and was a scurrilous rogue. And only by the greatest of fortune did he become the winner that he was.
You're right. And the truth probably lies somewhere in between those two poles.
Ever so.
Well, let's just take a step back. This is a good introduction to Napoleon, but let's talk about you. I first discovered you because I'm a fan of the Armchair Dragoons podcast, and you're often a guest on there. And then from there, I also picked up that you host or GM a lot of online. They're basically miniatures games, but done with tabletop simulators. Have I got that right?
Absolutely, yes. Before, and I get asked this a lot. It was actually before COVID. I was trying to figure out. Well, it goes back to this. I'm a miniatures gamer at heart. I play a lot of board games. I've played a lot of board games. I own a lot of board games. But I'm first and foremost a miniatures wargamer. That's where I started. And any miniatures wargamer knows the trauma of not being able to do all the periods you want to do. I have thousands of Napoleonic 25 millimeter minifigs, the only true scale. I have, you know, all these lovely miniatures I painted many, many years ago, and my eyesight and my hand-eye coordination was better. And during that time, you know, I built out a very big army, but I built out one side. And so I was fortunate because I had a group of people I could play with that would be the other side. They'll be my opponents. But as you go on in life and as your life changes, you realize not only do you love all these periods, I love World War II. I'm very interested in it. I love the black powder era generally, but certainly all the way back to the early modern period. My PhD is in the early modern period. It always goes back to the 30 Years' War and the English Civil War. I'm fascinated by ancients. You're never going to paint all these.
Right.
You're just not. Even if you had the money and the space and the time, you're just not going to do it. Life is only so long. And so I came back and I said, and then I discovered this thing, Tabletop Simulator. And I've told the story a number of times, but I bought it on sale for $9.99 and I poked at it and I absolutely hated it. Hated it. And I threw it away for a while and I left it in there. Finally, I don't know exactly why, but I wound up poking in the workshop and I discovered that it had an astonishing array, literally thousands of board and miniature games available for free to try out. And I said, well, wait a minute. I wonder if I could try to build the miniature games I want here. There was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of failure and frustration. And I'm still learning every single day when I futz around with this thing. But now, about, I'd say 6 years later, we now have on the channel, I was just taking a look at this, something on the order. How many did we wind up with? Yeah, we're somewhere in the, we're a bit over 1,000 videos.
Wow.
Of a ridiculous array of games that we have played since about 2-3 years before COVID, so about 2017, 2018.
Well, and I every week I keep track of, you know, what you guys are going to play and stuff, and you are playing all the, like, you'll play on a Thursday night, you might be playing World War II, but then you might Napoleon on a Friday night, or like you bounce around quite a bit. You must have several different groups of people that you're playing with all the time.
It's a group of about, I mean, a lot of them are armchair dragoons. In fact, I think most of them are. And I met some of them through that. Some of them I met through the channel. They just piped up and said, hey, can I play? Or in one famous incident that he'll tell you about, Achilles, he was a regular visitor to the channel, and I just shouted him out during a broadcast, says, hey, when are you going to play? And he came in and he's been with us ever since. I mean, for years now. And so I went back and so I've picked up these people over the years, either through the Dragoons or through the channel, and they've come via their interests. But most of them, I would say, are pretty, if you looked at the Venn diagram, they'll give everything a shot. Yes, they have a preference. Like I have a lot of people that are into Napoleonics. I've got a lot of people that are into World War II. There are also people that are into particular systems. One of our oldest, I think he fights for the title of the oldest viewer, and I don't mean chronologically, I mean just in terms of time watched, is my friend Hasdrubal, who's up from Canada. He will tell you he is a guy who loves Blucher. Sam Mustafa's Blucher. Anytime we play Blucher, Has is there. Most other things, he comes out and watches and hangs out, you know. So we've got a few folks like that. It's a great group.
So I'm in some ways I'm the same as you. The prospect of painting and collecting all the minis has kept me away from minis. I got into it, you know, years ago when I was I don't know, in my 20s, and I took a little spin with GHQ Micro Armor. I thought I might give that a try.
Sure.
But then, like you, I realized that there's just too many different things I like. There's no way. So it's kept me away from minis. But I think Tabletop Simulator is like, I think miniatures gaming is like the best thing about that platform it's just opened it up to everybody who feels the same way you and I do, that collecting and painting, all that stuff is just beyond us.
Yeah, I'll make two broad observations. The first is from Achilles. Achilles, who retired military officer, he's a board gamer. He's a heretic board gamer because he opens up the box and then makes up his own rules. It's kind of funny. But he has never painted a miniature in his life. Never one time. But with us, he's played hundreds of hours of miniatures. So it's opened up that world to him, which I think is pretty great. The other thing I observe is that it allows people to get the thing it's done more than anything else. And I don't know what the circumstances are where you live, but I've got I want to shout them out. There's a great game store near me called Old Guard Games. They're wonderful, owned by amazing people. It's a beautiful store. Anybody in the Milwaukee area should go check it out if you're into miniatures gaming. But they play a very particular kind of miniatures. They want to play bolt action. They want to play 40K. They want to play a few other, they'll have a wonderful Blood Bowl league. They're great. They're amazing, but they're not my games. There's nobody there playing I Ain't Been Shot, Mum. There's
Right.
There's nobody there playing Blucher. And so I don't know what your circumstances are, but here it would be awful hard, even if I had the time or inclination to paint these days, to try to get together with a group. TTS has enabled us to get together a group that literally spans the entire planet. One of the gentlemen that you may have heard of if you follow the channel, Mechanical Turk, who does a lot of the maps for me, love you, Turk. He's in New Zealand.
Right.
We have several players in England. We have we have a player now in France. We have a couple in Italy, and of course, Canada and America. So it's such a platform to bring people together and let them play games that they might not otherwise have a chance to play.
Yeah, I feel this. Vassal has opened up the world to me the same way. When I was just due to my work schedule, I don't get to play face to face as much as I like. And then Vassal just lets me play with guys in England, guys in the States, guys here in Canada. It's the same sort of thing. I just get to play so much more than I otherwise would.
Yes.
It's too bad I'm not a minis guy, because here in Calgary we have a fantastic store called the Sentry Box, and they have a huge range of war games, of course, but they just devote acres of floor space to miniatures. And in the downstairs, that's all fantasy and sci-fi miniatures, but upstairs it's completely military miniatures from all periods. So I don't know in the game room, I don't know what the favorite rules are that everybody's playing, but there's if you're a painter or a collector of minis, it's definitely a place you want to check out.
So that's and those things are lovely. When you have them, they're very, very special. I tell people who have them, hold on to them with both hands, because someone can retire, can move on. I mean, here in Milwaukee, I've spoken of it a million times. We had Napoleons. It's where I learned how to love Napoleonic minis, and it was here for 25 years. And then the owner moved on, and then it was over. And it was hard to believe, because we kind of felt it would be there forever.
Right. Yeah. The guy that owns my place, he's just a few years older than me, and I've known him for I don't know, 35, something like that. I've known him some 45 years. Anyway, he's in his late 60s now, and he's been doing it since he was in his 20s, and he tried to retire, and his customers and staff wouldn't let him. So he's trying to figure out how to do it. But I hope he finds a buyer, or his daughter is interested in keeping the store going, because it would be the same thing. It would be such a crushing blow to lose a store that you've grown up with and has always been there for you.
Yeah, that was exactly the same case, I think. Well, in the case of the owner of Napoleon's, it wound up being I'm sorry, I'm looking at it online. What a lovely store. It's a thing that can be hard to pass on. It's as you say. I mean, you hope that maybe your son or your daughter has an interest, but there's no guarantees. There are no guarantees.
No, and the other thing, if Gord wanted to sell the Sentry Box, it's a kind of a peculiar place because he just has so much inventory that, like, some of it, like the majority of it is brand new stuff, of course, but there's stuff that's been on the shelf there for 30 years that, like, he just doesn't get rid of old stuff, because every once in a while somebody comes in and goes, they're looking for this old thing that's been out of print, and he goes, oh yeah, I have one of those, like, and there it is, right? But that means the inventory is a colossal expense if anybody wanted to buy that store.
Well, it's like, you've likely, given your interest, you've likely heard of the Complete Strategist in Manhattan.
I've been there.
And you know, when I took my wife and my son and I went a couple years ago, we made the sacred pilgrimage. You know, it's because it's that kind of a place. But yeah, when you get a reputation. My nearest place for board gaming purposes is Noble Knight. They're not that far from my house.
Oh, lovely.
And they do an absolutely lovely job of, as you say, keeping up the old stuff. Oh, see now, and here I'm looking at their Facebook page. I guess we're doing a Century Box ad, which is okay. That's good. Well, I'm looking here at their, and just seeing not one, not two, but 10 copies of the new Warlord Games Revolution box set. You know, their epic scale Revolution stuff. That's really cool, and that's the kind of thing that we just don't have enough of. May I be direct? Oh my God, they see now this. I just clicked. They're having an Old Glory sale, I gather, and they've got those of us that remember, we used to buy miniatures on what they called peg cards, where you had a plastic bag that was stapled to a card that then hung from a peg.
Century Box still has those.
Yeah, well, I could see that they do, because they are selling Austrian fast foot sausage riders. I know exactly what those are. That is so great.
You'll need to make a pilgrimage out here, take a vacation out to Western Canada and check it out sometime.
There you go.
Did you start with board war games or minis games when you got into war gaming?
I wanted to play D&D because I saw a show. I'm pretty sure I've tried to find it. It's not available on YouTube. I can figure out. 60 Minutes did a show on Dungeons and Dragons, and this was before the Satanic Panic.
Right.
It made it look interesting and fun, and it was something college kids were doing, and it seemed to be centered on J.R.R. Tolkien, who I had a deep affection for. And so I said, I want to play D&D. And so I talked my mom into it, probably well against her judgment, but she loved me more than I deserved. And she said, all right, well, where can we go get your D&D stuff? And it was out at Napoleon's, was the nearest vendor. She took me out there. It wasn't where it wound up being on the north side. It was on the east side of Milwaukee. And I walk into this store and I get my D&D stuff, but I hear all this noise coming from the basement. And I go down to the basement, and there are probably 12 guys, 16 guys, all older, all well into their 40s by that point, shoving around 25 millimeter minifigs Napoleonics on a board that was 32 wide by 6 deep.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. We're talking thousands of minis. The minimum buy-in for those campaigns was 2,000 minis.
Jesus.
Painted, mind you.
Yeah.
And it was, as you can imagine, it was an incredible display. And although I played D&D all through high school, I still love first edition. I said, I want to play this. I want to play this very, very badly. And so even though I was much younger, I got in the one way I could figure out. Number one, I learned the house rules, Grand Tactics by F.A. von Buchholz, the house rules at Napoleon's better than anybody there. And I became sort of their croupier. Uh-huh. Hey, Jim, move that guy 6 inches. What's the check for a -2 on a flank? Got it. Okay. And I would know that. And I would move their figs. They would tell me, and I would move them. The second thing was, in exchange for my willingness to base paint and then paint the base and then grass the base, they let me use their hand-me-down armies.
Oh, nice.
And so I wound up being able to use a 2,500 fig Russian army, and I started off on what became a 6,000 fig Dutch-Belgian army. And so this is all for Grand Tactics. And so, yeah, that's really where it all started, right there in the glorious, fondly remembered summer of 1979.
Yeah, I remember being getting the D&D bug at the same time. A friend had gone down to Los Angeles over the holidays and came back, and he had the white box, and he came over to my house and he just threw it on my bed and said, "I can't figure this out. Figure it out. We need to play it. Everybody's playing it." So we did. So at some point though, you had a look around this Napoleon store and saw that there were other war games as well.
Yeah, well, the funny thing with that is my very first board game was Avalon Hill Starship Troopers.
Oh, nice one.
I loved Starship Troopers very, very much. I loved the book, and I was walking with my mother, again, my mom, through a department store called Gimbel's, which was once a national chain. It was based here in Milwaukee, and they had a store in a little suburb of Milwaukee named Cudahy. And I saw this game called Starship Troopers. And I said, "Mom, I love Starship Troopers, and this is a game about Starship Troopers. I want to play it." And I think it was $9.99 or some such on Markdown. And so she said, fine. And she bought it for me, and I took it home, and I understood absolutely nothing. I remember being so upset because I didn't get it. I didn't understand what a CRT was. I didn't understand what a combat ratio was. I didn't understand military organization, which obviously that game does a brilliant job of depicting. Understood none of it. And I put it over to the side, and I poked at it and poked at it. I still have it. And so that was really my way in the door. Then as I got older and as I continued to paint, I discovered my love of maps. And that's where that to me was the hook for Hex Encounter.
Right.
Was always the map. And when you're talking about, some of the absolute classics of Napoleonic map making, Ed, and, certainly even in the very early days of SPI, that was my hook. And then when Gen Con was still in Milwaukee, I made my first trip to the auction. Now, this probably would have been 83 or 84 would be my guess. And in the auction, I found bins of people who had received their SPI games in the mail and were selling them still in the envelope.
Right. Because it just was something that they weren't into.
Exactly. And these were $1 each.
Oh,
because they had failed at the auction. These people thought they could put it in for $1 and it went to the store. I bought every last one of them.
Right. Instant collection.
Yeah, I had exactly. And I still have most of those. I've since moved them, of course, one must, into plastic sleeving. But I still have all of those and those I then took, and the greatest example of this was I got Breitenfeld, which I'm proud to say I took when my son and I visited the battlefield at Breitenfeld some years ago. We took the SPI Breitenfeld to Breitenfeld, opened it up, and played a turn at Breitenfeld.
And did you photograph, get a selfie of yourselves playing Breitenfeld at Breitenfeld?
We absolutely do.
Yeah, nice.
So that game, which in many ways I think I wound up rubbing some of the marking off of, I played it so frequently. That one I called my best friend up and I said, "We're playing this because I understand this."
Well, I'm not surprised that Starship Troopers. It's not an entry level game. It does assume some conventions about the hobby for sure. But yeah. I did enjoy that game with the tunnels and the two different types of baddies, the ones that were underground and the ones that were overground. That was all lots of good fun.
Yes, for sure.
Well, okay, so I put together this list of it's not all the games I have. I didn't put on actually some of the ones. I have a few of those SPIs that I got for a buck or two as well, but they're not on this list. But I did make a list of games, and I'll go through them with you one by one. And if you've played them, you can tell me what you think of it. And if I've played it, I'll tell you what I think, and you can tell me if I'm bananas or what I'm missing. But I just thought it might be fun to like go through some actual games and see what your thoughts of them are. Oh, for some reason, here it is. There we go. So here we go. This is the first one. This is kind of like I just got 2 or 3 sort of grand strategic ones to start off with. But the Napoleonic Wars. This is a bit of a classic. This is like a 6-person game, I think, maybe.
Ideally.
I haven't played it yet. My take on this game from the outside is that people who do play it either love it or hate it. It's a totally polarizing game, it seems.
Absolutely. I love it. I think it's a classic of the form. The one thing that drives people crazy is you can do some silly ahistorical stuff.
Right.
And people hate that. I don't care. It's not that sort of game. I don't know if it's going to be on your list here. This is not Empires in Arms, people. Calm down.
Right. Well, it isn't on my list, but that one is similarly polarizing.
Yeah, if you want to play Empires in Arms, which I have many times, play it. Love it. Great game. It's totally different. This game is not that. It is a blast with a full table. It is highly interactive.
Right.
It has a lot of pieces, but none of them are complex. But they do interact with each other, and that is what can confuse. I would definitely these days, to make sure if you're going to play it, folks, get the updated rules. Go to the Living Rules at GMT. They're available there for free because there have been fixes and tweaks over the years. This game is not new. The other thing that you can get, and I love because I have it, is the blown up map. And I don't mean the one that you can get from GMT. I have the one that comes on the rubberized stuff.
Right.
And it's huge. And it just makes you feel like you should be wearing a silly hat and a uniform and all that stuff. And it's great fun.
That makes me think of one that isn't on my list that should be here, though, as well, is Columbia's newest game, Alliance, which, and they have their own neoprene map for that as well, which I haven't seen in the flesh, but I've seen pictures of it, and it's a bit oversized, and it sort of looks like great fun to have to play on the bigger spaces on a big giant map like that.
Yeah, Alliances is a snugger game, I would say. It's more tightly wound than this one. I've not had a chance to play it I've pushed the pieces. I've read the rules. I don't know how it will play interactively over multiple plays. That'll be curious to watch. But it is a different game, but I can absolutely see what you mean by the table presence.
Yeah, and you know they've kind of done a deluxe job of the blocks and everything in that one. So, here's another.
Yes.
Age of Napoleon. This is like 20 years old now, but this is a lot of people's favorite as well, I think.
This is a Euro game of the Napoleonic Wars. That's
right.
Not an insult. That's a compliment. It is a tightly built, very small folk. It's strange because it's as it says. It is the Age of Napoleon in a box. You know, it's the whole thing. There are updated rules. Get them. You'll want them. I think there may be updated cards, but that could make it is card driven. It's a card based game. Well worth your effort. Well worth your time. It is it's a 2-player game.
Right.
And so it's a great one if you got a buddy who is into this period to sit down. And if they're not comfortable with the crunch of some of the other games that may come up on your list, this is just a fabulous choice. It is one of my favorites.
Right. And the previous game, some people they snub it because of its lack of the sandboxy nature of it, the way it can go ahistorically. What's the reputation of this one in terms of historicity?
It's on rails. The history is largely here on rails.
Right.
It doesn't let you go too far.
Fair
You
enough.
know,
This is
it'll let Napoleon win, which is plenty ahistorical. You know, he can come out on top. It will let him win in Russia. It will, you know, let the Austrians win in 1809. I've seen that. I've seen the British get their lights punched out and really struggle. So it will allow bumps, and, you know, it'll allow different outcomes, which are all ahistorical, which is why I think that accusation is silly on its face.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
otherwise, what are you doing? Watch a film strip. Otherwise, you know.
Well, absolutely. I'm into sandboxy things that let you go all over the place. That's no problem for me. This game is by Renaud Verlac, and he's come out 20 years later. He's come out with another one that a lot of people haven't seen, but it's this one, Swords Around the Throne.
Yes.
I've only played this once. I found it totally intriguing, but I'm not enough of a Napoleonic historian to get a good feeling about if we were playing some history, or if, again, we were just playing a kind of a Euro that was set in this particular period.
I have this game. I have not played this. I've not had a chance to play this game. I think it has an incredible fun prospect. I think it is very interesting to me. It is another card-based game. It is a Euro. Again, I should stress, that is not an insult. That is what it is. You know, I'm looking forward to trying it. I'm intrigued all by itself. But the one thing that interests me, I don't know I've not seen an interview with him on this subject. The components seem a little bit of a step back from the other game.
Yeah, and that, I think that's just like the other one was, I can't remember who, maybe Mercury published it, but then the recent version of it is from Phalanx, and they do really nice components. Yeah. And this new game isn't published through Phalanx. It's it may be his own imprint or a small imprint. So I think it's just a difference in the publisher rather than anything to do with the designer there. It's a cool game. It's a point-to-point, and the card system is really different from any other card system I've seen before. So I really enjoyed it. The fellow I was playing with, he could see ways that it was just going to go so far from history that it was gonna get up his nose. So I didn't get a second play with him. But anyway, I think, well, that's good. I think that's my three sort of grand strategy games. Empire and Arms, of course, I could have mentioned, but I've never played it, and I don't own it. But I should have had Alliance on the list because I do own that. Well, here's some ones that are more like on battles or campaigns. Mm-hmm. We'll start here. This is this is kind of a classic, right? The Gamma 2, now Columbia Games, Napoleon, Waterloo, 1815.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't know when Tom DeGlash. I've often said, you know, it's like there's a lot of people who tell me once they've studied Platonic ethics, when they hear Plato's theory of the sun, the line, and the cave, and all that stuff. Well, that's obvious. That's easy. It's like, well, yeah, you didn't figure it out.
Yeah, right.
I feel the same way about block games.
Yep.
You know, when Tom all those years ago first was looking at a block and went, wait a minute, if I turn it this way, you can't see my stuff. Yeah. You can see I've got something, but you don't know exactly what or how much.
Well, sure. The Stratego thing was there, of course.
Yes.
But then Tom also had that thing of like not just only putting the info on one side, but putting the strength along the 3 or 4 sides, where I know you've got something, but I don't know how strong that particular unit is. I'm a huge fan of block games.
Yeah, and and so then that happens. This is obviously, you want the 4th edition, which they really went in. I bought a full set of the Eagles card game that goes with this.
Yep.
That allows you to play out the tactical battles.
Oh, nice.
That because you can actually match the cards to the blocks.
Right.
He's got the OOB, you know, for all its simplicity, for all of its elegance, it's quite accurate. The OOB is solid. The map is so great. I mean, he made the mistake in the 3rd edition. He kind of screwed it up. He like a good designer, he admitted the mistake. And here in 4, we have the better game put back together with a few extra pieces. You can match it to the Eagles card game. I have played people who use this as a strategic map or as an operational map to set up their Napoleonic miniatures games and use it for that. It is absolutely a classic of the form, certainly of the block games. There are very, very few games I would recommend more heartily to those who you can't be a complete, you can't be into Monopoly and to Sorry and jump into this. But if you've got any kind of Euro sensibility, if you've played Euro games and you wonder how a military game might work, this is the one.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And I agree about the versions. If people ask me, I say, get the 2nd edition or the 4th edition. The 3rd edition, which is the one that when he licensed it to Avalon Hill, I think he tried to sort of make it bigger. There's a lot more units in that game, and
yes.
I think it just lost the heart of what it was. And so you're exactly right when you said he realized he made a mistake, and when he brought it back to Columbia and did a 4th edition, he brought it back to what it ought to be.
Mm-hmm. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, go and get yourself a neoprene map. Do it.
I think they might have a sale on neoprene mats right now. Don't hold me to that, but that could be true.
All right. You are right. I just went to their website. They're at a very, very nice price.
Well, who knows when I'm going to get this on the air, but if it's quick, then go get one. The next game is also a Waterloo campaign, 1815. This is Mark Herman's game that originally came out in C3I magazine, and then they did a deluxe boxed version, and now it's even available, I think, on Steam.
Maybe. It is.
Yeah. I found this one also to be like totally approachable if you're coming over from just playing Euros or something.
It's a lovely game. It is. It's a strange game to me, because how do you not respect one of the giant? Mark Herman walks astride the wargaming universe, and we all look up at his shadow. How do you not feel that way about him? I certainly do. The problem I have with this game, it really isn't a problem. It's lovely. It's well designed. It's fun. Obviously, it's another game where, despite its lightness, it is accurate. It teaches. I can't get over the fact that I feel like it's trying to replace Zucker's Napoleon's Last Battles. And I won't let it do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll get to Zucker. We'll get to some Zucker games in a bit.
Which is a game that's going into my coffin. It's right. This is so good, and you should, if you get it, you will not regret it. But it's just not. It can't go that one level higher for me to take out Zucker's masterpiece.
And probably, if we talk to Mark Herman, he would say that wasn't his intention anyway. I think
yeah, of course.
About this game that was, it started with his Gettysburg game where he developed the system before. But the interesting thing of both players can you alternate moves, and you can just keep alternating forever. Your pieces don't have to quit moving until they actually get into one another's zone of control, basically. So it's an interesting. I've never seen a game before that just let you keep moving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, forever like that.
Well, like I say, the minis people will talk to you about Crossfire, but that's a different story.
Oh, well, there you go. There's things for me to learn. Absolutely. Okay, well, let's see what's next. Oh, so I put this one with the other two just because I grouped a few of these Waterloo games together. I don't know if you know this one, but this is a John Prados game.
Yep.
And
it's a magazine game. It plays like a magazine game. It has the heft of a magazine game. I think it's very fine. I do. I don't know as anybody has, how do you say it? I don't know as anybody has come out and spotted anything nefarious. It's also a battle that doesn't get covered enough, in my view. It's just because it seems like Quatre Bras gets all the love.
Right.
Right.
And so this tell me about what this is from Against the Odds. This is Beyond Waterloo, their annual in 2011. What is it, a single battle that this game is recreating, or is it more of like the campaign that leads up to Waterloo and through Waterloo?
That's there is something I actually have, would you believe I have notes?
Nice.
Because I knew you might well ask those sorts of things. It is 1815, but the question that it poses is what it does is it tries to deal with the situation with all of 1815. And what it tries to do, it tries to be a strategic game of the whole of the whole situation.
Right.
That is, because remember, one of the things that we can forget, one of the things that we can absolutely forget as we are doing Waterloo. So, everybody's like, well, what happens if Napoleon wins at Waterloo? It is far from a given that he is going to succeed. Right?
Right.
It is far from a given that he is going to be. And so what this game does is it throws out the whole map in front of you. And it says, look at the situation that Napoleon is facing when he returns to the throne at the 100 Days. Look at where the Austrians are. Look at where the Russians are. Look at where everybody is. And look at the pieces he gets to move on the board. And then ask yourself, what do you do? And that is that's a real challenge.
Right. So this is that's interesting. I don't think I know of any other game that's that is at this sort of wider strategic, almost strategic level, but only looking at like 1815.
Right. It is there. The one thing that people don't like about it is there were some tweaks that were needed. There's individuals that think it is too complicated.
Yeah.
And one thing that does bother people, and I didn't feel this, I want to say I did not feel this, is that there was too much love given to the British.
Yeah. That does come up in certain games, though, or certain historians, right? That some people will be in love with Wellington, or some people will be in love with Napoleon, or you do get some bias, I'm sure, in some designs.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So yeah, I would. It's but like I say, and also just so people understand, this is a game that has a time scale of 1 turn equals 1 month. So that's how long this is.
Right. So we're talking strategic. This is not even operational, really. Yeah.
Right.
I picked it up because I was interested in the topic, and it's designed by John Kratos, and that was like, I'm always interested to see what he's done that I haven't looked at. So that was a bit of a pull for me. This there's 3 of these in a row. These are the games from Shakos: Napoleon 1806, 1807, and 1815. 1807 is the only one I've played so far. Have you played any of these?
I have all of them and played all of them.
I fell in the moment I first played 1807. I just fell in love with the system. I think it's I don't know, history-wise, it felt good to me, but game-wise, it felt wonderful to me.
It was very, very strange. I actually went for the Armchair Dragoons. I interviewed the articles online, the folks from Shakos about 1806. Yeah. I reviewed 1806. I will tell you that I had just come back from Jena, from the Jena-Auerstadt battlefields, and driving around Thuringia and seeing all those battlefields. So it was serendipitous because that was the first one that came out.
Yeah.
We talked about how the Napoleonic Wars was the Euro game of the Napoleonic Wars. This is the Euro game of Napoleonic battles, or of operational strategy.
Right.
It is an insanely smart system. It does a brilliant job of maintaining fog of war. I love the way maneuver is handled, and it doesn't hurt that it felt like I have run Kriegspiels for all three of these periods. I've run 1806, 1807, and I'm now running 1815. The map is framed the same in terms of what it looks at.
Yeah.
And the maneuvers work the same. Which is the highest possible praise I can give. These are so much fun to play. They're a joy to play. The components are top flight. Get you a neoprene map.
I think that's going to be a recurring theme in our commentary here.
It is with the good ones, yeah.
Yeah, I can't recommend these more highly either. It's just so much fun, and yet it like you, saying a game has Euro elements is not a bad thing, as long as it's not that thing where the theme feels pasted on, which that I don't like a Euro. This is not that. This you feel like you're playing a Napoleonic battle when you're playing these games.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm glad we're both on the same page with that.
We're doing so good so well. Oh, geez, there he is. There he is.
Now we get to the king of Napoleonics, Kevin Zucker. I mean, sure. He's got to be sort of thought of as I can't think of anybody else who's devoted pretty much their entire 30, 40-year design career to Napoleonic games.
Surely not. I can't imagine who you'd be talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the one I have on the screen right now is one of his library of Napoleonic battles. It's the Napoleon's Wheel, but I'm more interested. I've got a couple of these so far, but I haven't played them yet. I'd be interested to hear what you think of that system, because that's a pretty long-standing and well-regarded system, but doesn't mean everybody loves it.
Well, look, first of all, Kevin Zucker isn't one system, right? Kevin Zucker is multiple. He has multiple systems.
Yeah, I'm going to get to a couple others as we go, for sure.
Yeah. So you specifically want to talk about the Library of Napoleonic Battles?
Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what do I say? I'm not kidding when I saying I almost bid. I almost bid on a copy at Enterprise Games, owner of which is a friend of the Dragoons and an altogether fine fellow down there in Indianapolis. He has the copy of Napoleon's Last Battles in shrink from Gary Gygax's library.
Oh.
So it was like my whole life coming together into a singularity.
Yeah, there you go. What did it go for?
It was several $100s.
Right.
It was expensive, and it was in shrink. So it's, which is interesting because Kevin these days doesn't shrink wrap his games.
Right.
He feels very passionately about that, and I respect it. In any event, the OSG games, the Library of Napoleonic Battles, started with Napoleon's Last Battles, which is, without exception, my favorite board game.
Fantastic.
Anybody want to play it anytime, anywhere, I will play it, period. And I will play the campaign game with all the associated rules, none of which are complicated. I understand the problems. I'm not stupid. I've played it too many times not to have seen them. It's still the best, sweetest, gentlest introduction to this period, and it just feels so great moving those troops about on that simplified map. It isn't lovely. It just isn't. But it's well done, and it's great. Now, these days, these maps are spectacular.
Right.
You get any of them. My favorite campaign is still 1809. So it's I like the Coming Storm, which is 1806 to 1807, which is that campaign, which is really good, and I like it. But I still, I'm going with the Last Success, which is probably my favorite. Which includes Egmul, Ospernestling, and Wagram. Those maps are so great. And as someone who has crawled over those battlefields a lot, it's amazing how accurate they still are, even though, of course, topography has changed dramatically in the 200 years since.
Right.
But yeah, so what can I say? Number one, components, top flight. Number 2, accuracy. There is nothing better. Kevin obsesses about these things. And if you want to read up on how he researches these things, prepare to be impressed. It's amazing. The system.
Well, I should just break in on that note. I don't know. Of course you know this. Just recently, in the last week, he made PDFs of his design magazine. Like, he's got 38 issues of that magazine he puts out on design, and he put them all up for free on the internet. So if you want to get into his mind about design, it's all right there for you to read.
I was a little scared by that because it's like, Kevin, you telling us something?
Yeah, I know.
Is that because my son wasn't old enough the last time he went to the peninsula? Otherwise, I would have gone with him on his tour group to the peninsula. And I'm still hoping he goes back there, and we can all go.
Right.
But in any event, the system, some people do not like it. Period.
Right.
They don't like the bloodlessness of the CRT. They think he just misses the mark. There are others of us, I obviously am included, that think it is perfect, it is attritional, and it's supposed to be. There are also some that accuse him of bias. That believe that he's too much into Napoleon's pocket. I think that that's nonsense. Play some of the games in 1813 and tell me what you think.
Right.
It's, I mean, I have a hard time getting into the head of those that hate it. How's that?
Yeah, I hear you. And it's I sort of expected that you were gonna like these games, but you never know. Like you said, there's some people who don't, and it's like, okay, but I think most people who love Napoleonics kind of these are their favorites in general. This is the other one I have, Last Gamble. So
and just parenthetically, never doubt there are people that hate it.
Yeah, always. But
it's I don't understand it, and frankly, my life is too filled with the joy of them to bother. The only thing I don't like, and Kevin, if you ever listen to this, I want you to hear, I've said it every time I talk about your games, give me enough counters to cover to give Fog of War. He never does. You're supposed to be able to put a little Austrian flag on top of your stack so people don't know what's coming.
Right.
He never gives you enough, which is why people have been reduced to those counter sleds.
Yes, I don't care for counter sleds. I would rather make my own little toppings or something.
Precisely. I cannot abide the counter sled. So Kevin, fix that. Otherwise, I love you.
All right. Well, we're gonna some of these games are gonna pop up again, like you said. The Library of Napoleonic Battles isn't his only system. I'm gonna click the button here and see what comes up next. Well, here's another one.
Oh man,
Arcola. This is a Avalon Hill game, a small box back in like 82 or something.
This is part of a series that he did.
Right, and this is it was like a smaller a smaller entry into that series. I recently picked up a copy of this and went to play it just like last month, and it was missing like 8 of the counters, and I was like, for Christ's sakes, there's only 30 counters anyway. How could you have missing 8?
Yeah, he did a series of these. That included one on the 100 Days and a number of others. This also existed in multiple editions, I believe. I have the one this was a co-design. He was not the only person with hands on this.
Right.
He did this. What's his name? Tom Walczyk.
Okay.
Tom Walczyk was involved in this one too. It was here's the point. It's intended to be simpler. It's intended to be more focused, and it's intended to play quickly. I have not, honestly, and it's interesting too. How good is he? I've seen people do this. When you take his larger scale game, the one we were just looking at of the same campaign, this map fits at an angle inside that map.
Right.
You know, that's how much attention Kevin pays to these things. And I have just so much respect. The system is, I felt it was more complex than I wanted it to be. It's not
Right.
terrible.
Right.
But I felt it was, especially since they were trying to draw people in to something simple. I was surprised. It's also, and let's be clear, it came in a little box, right? You still have
Yep.
that little, yeah.
Yeah,
that
so
little
it's like a 5x8 box. It's not the same as if you're thinking of an old Avalon Hill box. It's not it's like 2/3 of that size, sort of.
Yeah, it is. This is not the OSG system. It is different. There's a role to activate that drives people nuts in it. This is not that baseline system we were just looking at, but it's an interesting game. I would probably try the 100 Days first. They also
Right.
did one on Little Round Top in the same series, diverting a little bit. But
Oh, yes,
I would probably play the 100 Days first.
well, I'll look for the 100 Days then before I go and find yet another new copy of this one to replace the one that I got stepped on. Okay. This is a lot of people's favorite game. This is Napoleon's Triumph from Rachel Simmons.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. Man, do I love how this game looks. Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is different. This game, Rachel, I tell you what, this is actually the second of her two games. The first is Marengo.
Right, I've got that one. I think it's next, actually. But
it's good. Bonaparte at Marengo. These really need to exist at two levels. One, go play them because they're fun. They're amazing looking. And Rachel makes clear that her goal was to say, remember all those cool maps we all saw on the West Point Atlas of Napoleonic history? What happened if you could play those maps?
Yeah.
With little blocks and interesting mechanics. And so that's what she set out to do, was to give you those games. I have played this game with people who have never played a war game, much less a Napoleonic war game before, and they had a blast.
You're totally right. It's beautiful on the table. They're areas, and the interesting thing about those, they're long blocks to represent each unit, and they don't just go in the area. They go like along the edges, if I remember this correctly, right?
Well, they can be in two spots. They can block, or they can be in the center of the area.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that positioning is critical, because where you are in the area affects dramatically your ability to fight.
And it's diceless combat. There's no it's complete fog of war.
Yep.
But there's no rolling off here. It's like when you reveal the units, and like you say, the positioning is critical in terms of what the strength is going to work out to be. Then the results of the combat are just what they are, based on who turns out to be there.
And exploring this game in Marengo, unfortunately, my impression is that Rachel has had health issues that have prevented her from doing much more design. Though that's the new edition. Yeah.
There's an older, so the cover of Triumph of Marengo. She did this new version through Histogame, but there was, and I think there's a few changes to this version from her original one as well, from what I understand. But I haven't played either of them. I just got this one because I went. Her games are going to go out of print, then you can't get them, and people love them. So why wouldn't I want?
Yeah, I've been offered lavish amounts of money for the Austerlitz version.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's, but in any event, they deserve to be studied as a great creative mind. I believe her designer, I watched, and I made some comments back in the day as she was developing Austerlitz, and she would bounce ideas up. Watching her develop both these games, post designer notes, and follow along to the finished product was absolutely fascinating. Forget about wargaming, forget about Napoleonics, game design. It was, and if you can match those two up and look at the final product, I will say this: she writes rule sets like not too many people do. They are very procedural, and every word matters, and the sequence of the words matter. You totally have to read her rules with precision, otherwise they will make zero sense.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her other game, Guns of Gettysburg,
Sure.
and people complain about the rules there, and I go, look, she never repeats a rule, so that gets some people down.
Yes. Yep.
But she says everything once, and she says exactly what she means. So just go read it; it's there. You just have to.
And that phrase you just used is really the critical one. I wrote what I wrote.
Yep.
Why
Yep.
are you trying to read into it?
And the other thing with the games, you have to sort of be willing to give up a few. You have to give up a few of your preconceptions from having played war games for 20 or 30 years or whatever you've done, because she's just going to say this is the way this works, and there might be a part of your brain that thinks no, I think it works this way, and you're wrong.
Right. And I know she said this. Is that what I wrote? Well, then you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's a pity. It does seem to be winding up her design career for whatever reason. If it's a health reason, that's really sad, because like you said, that design, I didn't get to follow along like you did, but people would always point to her design notes, or her blog, as just like, if you want to see how somebody goes about designing a game, read Rachel Simmons' blog. And
100%.
Yeah, well, there you go. Here we go. This is Commands and Colors Napoleonics. This is going way back to like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Sure.
Do you play these games?
If you go to my channel, you will discover that before COVID, my son and I played every single game available publicly in the official canon for this.
Nice.
And we did it on the anniversary of the battle.
Fantastic.
And so we spent an entire year playing Commands and Colors Napoleonics, commemorating battles. We don't use the blocks, we use miniatures.
Right. Yeah.
I have had, Richard Borg and I have talked on many occasions. I am infuriated at GMT for the delays that have come in the release of Le Grand Battles. It was a running joke on the Armchair Dragoons that Mystery Wizard was higher in the queue than this was.
This complaint comes up all the time, and it's a valid one, and I don't know what GMT's like. I don't know. These are such big sellers. I don't know enough about their business to know why, of all their games, why they don't just keep these in stock all the time.
Well, Richard, I know this because I heard it from Richard. He wanted to release one of the expansions for Ancients, which is an utterly lovely system that I like a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And what he was saying to Gene and the crew, who, by the way, and I always have to stipulate this, Gene has done more for gaming than I will ever do in my whole life. I know that. He knows more about games than I could ever learn, and I frankly don't care to learn. He has succeeded where many have failed. So all respect. Yep. It still drives me buggy that Richard had to give him money to print Commands and Colors, the base game, because he said, Gene, nobody's going to buy the expansion if they can't get the base game.
Yep.
And so there's a dynamic there. The blocks, it's not like it's plastic parts, right? It's blocks. It's blocks and stickers. But,
but I've heard also from other publishers too that there's something about like they can get all their printing done for everything in one place, but they often have to source either cubes or blocks from other places. So
that could be, like I said, I don't know, but it is aggravating. It is frustrating. Obviously, my comments should suggest how much I like this system. It is, in a walk, my favorite Beer and Pretzels miniatures game.
Oh, there you go.
This is the way, if you want to come into, I have played, well, just go to my channel. You will see there are hundreds of hours of us playing gigantic creaking tables with miniatures, typically about 22 feet wide in virtual scale, thousands of miniatures, playing these really, really big battles and playing a big battle to conclusion in 4 hours or less. You won't do that any other way. So it's brilliantly done that way.
And as much as you like the minis, I find I totally like the blocks as well. Like there's something tactile about blocks that I totally enjoy. So although I also have like I mean I have most of his series, so I have Battle Cry, and I love those little minis too. So what are you gonna do?
We're all miniatures gamers at heart. Don't ever forget that.
The Napoleon at Bay. This is an OSG game. This is what it looks like now. Napoleon at Bay. But this one is kind of infamous because this. This was the original. This is the version I have, where it was called Napoleon at Bay, the campaign with the maybe the worst cover in war game history. It's just a bizarre looking cover.
That is something that some friend of Kevin's, his kid drew on the back of his Trapper Keeper notebook.
But the game, it's some people like this game, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, it's a lovely game. It's a lovely game on a campaign that just never gets enough coverage. Yeah, he went through this phase, and it's a different system again. This is not the same system that you see in the others. The one that I prefer, just because it's my preferred campaign, is the 1809 campaign, which that map is ugly and awesome by equal turns, because it has the whole of the 1809 campaign, which I don't think you're going to get anywhere else, to be honest. But no, this is the 7 Days of Glory, or the 6 Days of Glory. This is Napoleon. It's funny. There was a horrible movie recently made about Napoleon.
Yes.
And it put out all sorts of nonsense. It's the thing I think all historians feel when they look at a historical figure who gets traduced that way. There is such a good story to tell. And the story of Napoleon in 1814 fighting with little armies against impossible odds, and yet winning victory after victory, such that his opponents are afraid of him again, is one of the great stories in the history of warfare that's just never been told. So I'm glad we have games.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, when I got a chance I bought this one used, and it was a combination of its infamous cover, but the fact that it was Kevin Zucker, I was like, well, I can't pass this up for $20. Let's go.
There you go. Oh, look at this.
Rising Eagles.
Yes.
I guess the Hexasim, the maybe they're called the Eagles system. I'm not sure, but there's a few games in this series, right?
Yep. There are indeed. There is there's. I think this is the best one.
This is Austerlitz 1805.
Yeah, I think this is the best. Right. I love this game. It's got everything you want. Lovely components, lovely system, and it's an intriguing combat system. It is elaborated. It's a little trickier than some, but it is highly sought after. This is a very, very well regarded game, and it's one of those games that, along with the Zucker games we talked about before, looks absolutely terrific on the table.
Well, and if you're in the States, GMT now carries Hexasim stuff, I think. So you don't have to pay shipping from France, right?
Well, true. And that's where I got mine from. But I will tell you, I don't know how many of these things are available.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they have. I don't know how much stock they have either. I know they have some of the Eagles series. Last time I was at the warehouse, I did see Hexasim product in the warehouse, so they've got to have some stuff, but I don't know which titles.
Yeah, which is really cool, and this is that to me, this is the Napoleonic miniature gamers rising up as in the body of tabletop gamers. You can get Quatre Bras. It's by the way known as, I knew it had a formal name. It's called the Eagles of France system. Right.
And so there's Rising Eagles, and
then there's Last Eagles, which is Quatre Bras.
Right.
And then there's also Lagny Last Eagles.
Right.
And Lagny and Quatre Bras, those giant maps, they're not little maps in the first place, link together so you can play them together.
Oh, so if you have the table space.
Yeah, you best have a large table for sure.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that I think I only have one of these so far, so I'm glad it was your favorite. I feel good about my choice there.
Yeah, you did well there. You absolutely, in my mind, you did.
Have you? This is 1812, Napoleon's Fateful March, new game last year from VUCA, and this was tied for my game of the year last year. I love this game. So, have you played it? What do you think?
I have it. I have not played it. Why do you love it?
What I loved about it, so it's got a few unique things. It's a block game, but the units aren't blocks. The orders are blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So but they work kind of like Columbia blocks in that they're one-sided. So each turn we're each going to get a number of orders, and that's a number of ordered blocks, and we're going to set them out with different units. But our opponent is going to be able to see what those orders are, and then the different order types, whether it's it's a march or it's a refit. There's all kinds of different orders, whatever it's going to be. They're all they're revealed in a certain order. So like maybe all the march orders are revealed first. So it's not like we put out our orders and then they're all revealed. There's fog of war all the way through the whole turn as they're revealed bit by bit. There's also fog of war in that each leader is on the board. It's a point-to-point map. But you have a side, sort of like a side station where the units that are sub to that leader are behind it, like a little screen for each leader. So I guess there's just tons of fog of war going on, but in a really straightforward system. That's what really just drew me in. Plus, it's VUCA. Their components are second to none right now, for sure.
Yeah, I love the standees.
Yes,
I think they're fun and lovely. Although I will say, and I put a clock on this one. I put a clock on this one to say, how long will it be before somebody starts using miniatures for those standees? And it was not long.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The other thing I should say too is each of the leaders, and both sides have like is 6 to 12 leaders. I can't remember, but each one on the back of their little card, you'll see they all have like their own little sort of superpowers or not so superpowers, but it gives each of the leaders a little bit of individual flavor as well, which is totally lovely.
Yes.
The game, it has, you can do the whole thing, like the whole march all the way to Moscow, but it also has like it's broken up into scenarios as well, so you don't have to do the whole thing. I played it last year in San Diego, and we played sort of the center chunk. So I was nappy, and I barely dragged my ass into Moscow, where I was immediately cut off, and that was the game. But it was exciting as hell.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. This is another new system. This is Bonaparte's Eastern Empire by Andy Rourke. He's got a new company out of England called Form Square, and he's got this system called Limits of Glory. And this is obviously Eastern Empire refers to, this is a game on the Egyptian campaign. Have you played this or seen this?
I have certainly seen that, and I do not possess it, and I haven't even gone through the rules, but my comment when it was brought to my attention was, it's been a while since we've bothered talking about the East. And right. I don't know why that is. There was a pretty awful game that was done some years ago about it. This Limits of Glory system is what's more interesting to me.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So that's the part that I'm going to follow with some interest. It seems, once again, this is not an insult. It is Euro influenced. I'm curious to see, and I doubt it, given what I've seen of it. It is certainly colorful as all get out.
Yeah, people love or hate the map, and I've talked to Andrew, and basically what he was doing is he uses a lot of period cartoons for the illustrations of the leaders, and
yes,
and that style leaks into the map. So that makes the whole thing look a bit cartoony, but it's a certain kind of old political cartoon that totally appeals to me.
Yeah, no, and we should. I mean, in addition to design choices, if we're going to learn from the recent success of board games, we should absolutely be looking at the way they illustrate.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got some interesting things in this game. He's got a turn track that also doubles as a random events table
Yes.
that works in a way that I've never seen before. And the combat system, it's a bucket of dice system, but the way you find out how many dice you get is unlike anything I've seen. And then this whole the glory thing, which is each leader has so much glory basically that they can spend. Obviously, Napoleon's got the most, but all the sub commanders have varying amounts, and you're spending. You can't spend it willy-nilly. You have to spend it effectively. Anyway, it's a cool series. I like it, and there's now two more boxes, 4 more games. So the next one, volume 2, is meta, and then there's another box that has 2 smaller battles in it. So I encourage people to check it out. I'm really happy for Andy and his new little company, which it's your typical one-man show. But I said, how did you get the guts to do that? And he said, well, I didn't know what not to do, so I just kind of thought of what I needed to do and tried it. So it's worked out.
That seems wise.
Yeah, so good for him. That's Santa Mora and Capri. That's the 2-volume game, and that's just on its way out now. I think it's just being released, and that's Meta 1806.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's already announced like volume 5 and 6 of them. So he's got a pipeline of these coming out. I hope they are all as much fun as I found the Egyptian one to be. All right, here we go way back. Ney versus Wellington, Battle of Cote d'Ivoire. This old SPI game.
Sure. There are some people. This game has to be seen alongside Wellington's victory, which is the Battle of Waterloo.
Right.
There are some people there. I think I saw Gary Ardwolf actually playing, hard to believe, Wellington's victory, which is otherwise known as SWAT the Skirmishers. You will never see so many skirmishers in all your life. There are many, many people who believe this is the better of the 2 systems. The intention of Wellington's victory was to create squad leader for Napoleonics.
Yeah, well.
And it sort of does, and it sort of doesn't. Understand that's the level of complexity you're dealing with.
Right.
And understand these are SPI classic era maps, which is to say they ain't lovely.
Yeah. You have to like those kind of maps to find them lovely. I do, but I get why people don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's well put. I own it. I've played it. I don't know as I ever need to play it again, to be direct.
Is this Frank Davis? I can't remember.
Yes, that's Frank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in some way, this is like like maybe one of the first kind of monster Napoleonic games. Am I kind of bouncing around there? Is it that big?
Now you are challenging me to remember which came first.
I'm not
certain. I was first. Yeah, nope. See, and that's the thing. This one is Joe Balkowski.
Oh, this is Joe Balkowski. Okay.
Yeah, this one is Joe. Frank is Wellington's victory.
Wellington's victory. Right. Yes. There we go. So I had it backwards. Great.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I'm punching around now, just making sure I'm not talking stupid. Yeah, Wellington's victory is 76, and that's Frank. And then this other game by Balkowski comes out trying to fix what was wrong with Wellington's victory.
Well, that's sort of how SPI worked it back in those days too, though, right?
They didn't have the kind of time we would have. I mean, I've said on a number of occasions, you want to know why TTS is a great thing. You want the list. Take a look at the number of game designers that play test using it.
Oh yeah, it's perfect for playtesting.
You get your rough pieces together. And so Frank and Joe, they didn't have that.
No. absolutely. And they were also on like a monthly or a bi-monthly clock,
Right.
for, for a lot of this stuff. So
How do
yeah,
you?
that
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Well, I don't know that I don't know that I have Wellington's victory, but I have this Ney versus Wellington. So maybe I've got the fixed one according to you. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
I think you do. I think you do.
This is a new one. Ilo 1807 from Sound of Drums.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uwe Wallentin design. This is they got a new series called Battles of Napoleon. They've got a new game just announced. I can't remember what it is, but this one came out with a little bit of like beautiful components, but a bit of controversy in that the rules weren't great right off the bat, and but he did a 1.1, a 1.2, a 1.3, and now there's a 1.4 rules that I understand that now the game works, but it was not a smooth rollout for a new series. Have you played it at all?
Oh yes, I got the wooden box.
Yeah,
You know?
nice.
Yeah, I think you actually you have said, you have spoken the truth. This should not have been released in the condition it was.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how you say this other than to say it. And by the way, I'm kidding. I did not actually go in for the limited edition. I just got the bike, the game. Let me be clear.
Right.
The wooden box is pretty cool, but I have no need for such things.
No, well, my budget is
It's
take
like,
another game rather than the wooden
it's
box.
neat. It's neat. I don't need it. All right, I'll say I've been trying to avoid saying this way. There was this box, there were these special dice. It's like that time should have been spent on the rules.
Fair enough.
And now it's good. Now it's very good, in fact.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And I feel that there may be some people who would like after 1.1 or 1.2 just went, screw it. I'm done with these guys.
Yeah. And that is what is unfortunate. People's attention spans are very limited. Well, look, you and I know this. We're sitting inside of a niche, inside of a niche, inside of a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
We know that the market, this game looks like La Bataille. It plays more easily than La Bataille, but most things do.
Right.
But its aesthetic is very much in that heavy crunch, the Ed Wimble and all that other stuff, and that's great. But you're really only going to get one swing at this, I think, with some people in some wallet. I hope that as he goes forward, this doesn't adversely affect what he's able to do, because I think there's a lot of great ideas here. I really do. Right.
Yeah. That's sort of what I've heard from people who've persevered and gone all the way and kept trying the new rules. That's like they like it where it finally landed, and hope that it hasn't been ruined by the bad rollout.
Yes.
Well, I don't even remember putting this one in. The next one is Crowning Glory, Austerlitz 1805. This is another Against the Odds magazine. But is this well, I don't know. I bought this secondhand, I think, so I don't know anything about this game so far.
It is a Thai Bomba special.
I was going to say, like, I tend to stay away from Thai Bomba games.
Mother said you shouldn't say unless you have nice things to say.
Fair enough. That's well, I mean, he's just so big into counterfactuals and all that, and it's just
that's it. And which is it, though. The one thing I do note about it, it was developed by Russ Lockwood, who you have a good opinion. I know very, very well from his role in developing one of my favorite miniatures rules, Snappy Nappy.
Right. There you go. That's a great name.
I didn't love it. It did not love
it.
Well,
there we go. Well, we won't talk about that. That'll be that. Back to this is 1809 from Napoleon's Danube campaign from Victory Games. Is this one more Zucker game?
Yes, that's the Zucker game I was talking about.
Right.
This is back when TSR was going to pump a little money into Victory.
Right.
That's where they got this art from.
Yeah, the art does look sort of TSR-ish. It doesn't look very Victory game.
Well, it looks, you think of Ambush and you think of some of the other stuff that they released in this period.
Yeah.
This is the one I was talking about that has a map that is not lovely but is still awesome.
Well, and I've heard good things about this game. The gameplay along with the map, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And a totally different system than the other things that we've talked about with Zucker so far today.
This again is a different system. This is the same system as 18. Yeah, I'm suddenly starting to. They're all starting to jam up in the back of my head. Let me pull up my notes, just because I don't want to screw this up as badly as I'm afraid I'm going to. This one is the child of his. Where did it go? I got it. I need to pull this one up. This one is a much more detailed system than the Library of Napoleonic Battles. There we go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. Where does it go?
Well, it makes sense for Victory games. They would certainly
this is 2 days per. This is 2 days per turn, 2 miles per hex, and the units are divisions and brigades.
Okay.
It's what's known as his 1X system. That's what I was looking for.
And this is you'd still play this game not just because of the map, but you still this is
this one is going to be a long drink of tea though.
Right. Yeah.
This one is going to be now there are shorter scenarios to learn it, as there should be, but this is a longer drink of tea than going into things like The Last Success or Last Gamble or any of the other ones that are a part of his better known system.
Right. Well,
this is more detailed. This is more complex.
Victory at this time was putting out games like Pacific War and stuff like that. So they were not, Mark Herman and the gang were not afraid of publishing deep and complex games. So
no, they certainly were not.
No surprise it landed up here. And that was it. That's the end of my collection. I guess I have a few magazine games. I've got a game on ECML and things like that, but that I didn't put in there. But that was great. You had something to say about everything. I guess you'll notice that there was no La Bataille in my.
I observed that,
and that's I'm staying away. It just seems like a step too far of fiddliness for where I want to get into. But what's your take on La Bataille? Are you a Labatt player?
Well, I have. Well, first of all, you always have to say with Labatt, and I tease Gary about this on the regular basis. Well, which Labatt are you talking about?
There's these.
There are 22 different rule sets.
Yeah, there's the Marie-Louise rules and the regs and the this and that and the other thing. Yeah,
right? I am now officially of the mind, and I mean this. If I wanted to play Labatt, I would play Wargame Design Studios' lovely PC games.
Oh, great! Perfect. Yeah.
I've play tested a half dozen of those. I was listed as a play tester for those. Since John Tiller sold those games, they have wound up in the incredibly wonderful hands of the WDS people who are updating them constantly. And the Napoleonic system has gotten a lot of love, not as much as the World War II guys, but we know where we stand.
Right. Yeah.
But the Napoleonic games have gotten a lot of love. They do a wonderful job. They have brilliant multiplayer implementations. We've actually on the channel played Quatre Bras with 6 players.
The PC version.
Yes, the PC version, the WDS version.
Oh, that's
very
great.
It's a satisfying experience, and I just have no need for Labatt anymore. I have them, but I just. That's nothing I need anymore.
Yeah, I've looked at buying them. There's the Sentry Box has got 5 or 6 on the shelf, and they're always like $150 or something. They're pricey games.
Very much. And I sound disrespectful, and I don't mean to be. Their OOB detail is amazing. It's a system for those that love it. I I don't feel like it's not a lazy game in any way, like I think some could be thought.
Right.
It just is not where I'm at a point where I've said, well, sure, I'm just a lot of what you're trying to do, I'm more than happy to let a computer handle.
Right. I love that, because when I see a fiddly game, I go, oh, I'd way rather play a fiddly game on computer. You know, that's my exact thought. All right. Well, so we've been yakking for an hour and a half as it is. So to wrap up, what games am I missing that you go, look, if you're going to play some Napoleonics, you got to play X, Y, and Z.
Oh, Lordy. Well, let me be very clear. Napoleon's Last Battles, you sort of referred to it. You were in the same vicinity, but Napoleon's Last Battles.
Right. I've written that down already. Yep.
Play that campaign. Number 2, and I just would feel dirty if I didn't list it, War and Peace.
Oh, okay.
I bought that. My copy of that rule, Mark McLaughlin's War and Peace, my copy of that game is so shot. It is, I went out and I bought I think it was the 6th edition. He's gone through a couple others since. But let me also say that when I get that to the table, and I don't get it to the table, I bring up Steam and I play it on the PC, which you can do now.
Right. But there's been a recent, like another new version of that, of the physical game.
Yes.
In the last couple of years, right? Yeah.
Yes. And I bought that new version, which is good. But now that, and it's called, by the way, it's not called War and Peace because he couldn't use that for a PC title. He had to call it Napoleon's Eagles.
For the PC version.
Yes.
Okay, I'll look for that. Great.
Yeah, and the thing about it is you can play it on Steam such that other people can join your game. They don't even have to have a copy of it.
Oh, nice.
And so we've played multiplayer that way, live.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I will admit, it was one of those situations where I realized, oh, that's how simple that rule is. when the rule was being enforced.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's a good feeling.
You know, so check that out. I enjoyed that a great deal. Let me say we haven't mentioned anything about Age of Sail.
True. Yeah.
And never doubt that Wooden Ships and Iron Men is still a good game.
I totally love that game. I didn't even think to put any of that stuff in here.
Wooden Ships and Iron Men is still a great game to this day. My son and I have played it. I love it.
Yep.
Flying Colors is an excellent game. That deserves to be played. I still prefer Wooden Ships and Iron Men.
Same here.
I don't know why. I wish I could exactly explain why, but I can't. But
yeah,
I felt that
sometimes it's what you break break in on, and it's like you just can't go back, right?
Right. Well, that could certainly be so. I don't know. I wish I did more particularly, because I don't know. And then they're very hard to get now because of the terrible thing that happened to the publisher, and I try not to think about it because it kind of makes me mad. But any of the Napoleonic 20 series.
Yeah.
They now publish zombie games and related stuff, which is sad, as I say.
The Napoleonic 20 was a whole series, right?
Yes, probably the best. And what you can do is, I don't even know how readily available these are. GMT tried very hard to put together a series of them, and I believe they put it out as Falling Eagles. What was it called? Dear Lord.
One more, they had like 2 or 3 in a single box.
Exactly. Yeah. And they put that together. They spruced up the components because it used to come in a bag.
Right.
Who was
the original publisher?
The original, Victory Point Games.
It was Victory Point. Yeah.
And well, they got, Alan. I think Alan just sold.
He did. Yeah, he sold out and went on to do other things and just died in the last couple of years.
Oh, did he? I did
Yeah.
not. Well, may he
Yeah,
rest.
yeah, too young for sure. I think he was in his 60s as far as I know.
Ugh.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
know. Yeah.
I like hearing that. But anyway, yeah, he sold, and as a consequence, the company sort of went away, and they're hard to come by. They're expensive. He went from zip bags to he put out nice little boxed versions.
Yeah, those little pizza boxes, sort of.
Exactly. And they're delightful games. They truly are. And unfortunately, they GMT put out one, and apparently it just didn't sell.
Right. Yeah.
And
for whatever reason. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I certainly will. I did my part. I tried to buy it, and but it did not sell. Those are well worth always taking a look at. They're incredibly light, incredibly short. All of them play in an hour.
Right.
But fun. they do a good job. The better ones, particularly, I love Jena. It's one of my favorite battles anyway. But Jena 20 is an example. But all of them really do a lovely job of showing you the map, the challenge, and they're board games, to be sure. But I still enjoyed the heck out of them. So those would be ones that if I were there, I would definitely include in my mix.
Fantastic. Well, great. Thanks so much for talking to me today, Jim. This has been fantastic.
No, it's a real pleasure. It's not a shock. I love talking about Napoleonic warfare, and I love talking about Napoleonic war games. And I certainly, even though I'm a miniatures gamer, I love my Hex Encounter brothers and sisters. So go out there and do mighty things.
Yeah, right. There's board games can do one thing and miniatures games can do another thing, and we need to appreciate both for what they do.
Well, and I will tell you that, and I will say this, that there have been such. I remember when. What's the name of it? It's the World War II squad letter game that Udo came out with. Squad level World War II game.
Who came out with?
Udo.
Don't know.
I'm probably getting his name wrong. Wow, this is so embarrassing because it was a half a thought. My point only is I remember being at Historicon when it was still at the Host, and it was all these miniature games everywhere, and yet a brand new World War II squad level game had come out, and everybody was in love with it. Everybody was buying it, and basically when people had downtime from their miniatures games, they went over to coffee tables or to spare tables, and they threw that on there, and then they played a board game.
Right. So they love it both ways.
That symbiosis is real enough, and it's a joy. As I've said on other occasions, people don't realize, as much as I miss SPI and as much as a lot of us do, this is a golden age.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I loved what I got in the 80s. I wouldn't trade it for anything for sure. But now the back then you could kind of almost buy everything if you had a bit of money. Now you forget buying everything. You can't even know everything that's coming out. There's such a huge torrent of things being released every year. We're spoiled for choice.
No, and I knew I could pull it out. Uwe, not Udo. Uwe Eckart's Conflict of Heroes Awakening the Bear. Yes, right. Conflict of Heroes. Yeah. And so, well, that tells me right now what year it was. I was there in 2008 at Historicon. and everybody had the original Conflict of Heroes on their table, and everybody was talking about its mechanics and how great they were and all that other really cool stuff. So yeah, it's neat. I love hearing about it. Well, thanks again for being my guest today, and I encourage everybody to check out your Friday night fights and whatever other nights you get together on Tabletop Simulator. Oh, thank you kindly. Actually, we usually run games Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Only lately we've been doing Friday because everybody wants to see me play Chain of Command too. But we're getting together tonight to play Dogger Bank for When Dreadnoughts Rules the Seas.
Nice.
And on Saturday we'll be doing part of Waterloo. Go figure. We'll be using General Darmay. So a lot of writing.
Well, have fun, and I hope I get to talk to you again sometime.
It'd be a pleasure.
Thanks.